Contour lines. Being aware of contour lines can help make your drawings and your artwork in general more exciting, more expressive, and have more visual complexity. Let's take a look at how. We know that when we draw from representational objects, especially, that we want to focus on the basic shape of the objects before worrying too much about detail. In this example, we see the hand represented in basic geometric shapes. Now, shape is what we're talking about here. Good artwork utilizes expressive and interesting shape, like these koi fish, or this salsa dancer, or this interesting violin player. Now, what makes a shape interesting and expressive? Well, contour is one factor. Contour refers to the outer edge quality of a shape. Let your eyes follow the outer edge or the outline of this deep sea diver, and you'll notice that the artist has emphasized the expressive contours of the diving suit. This adds movement, expression, and visual complexity to the artwork. If you look inside the diver, you'll see many interesting shadow shapes, which also have expressive contours. Here's another example of a smooth contour versus a curvy or more varied contour. The curvy or more varied contour will result in greater visual complexity in artwork. Examine those expressive contour lines all around the bird, and notice how the contour lines are being used to investigate the wing as well, and even some of the features inside the wing. Exaggerating and emphasizing expressive contour lines can add a lot of energy and interest to drawings. Notice the expressive contours down the man's legs. So much of art involves seeing. So when drawing from representational sources, or even drawing from memory, in order to draw expressive contours, first as artists, we have to recognize them, which means that we have to look at the world with an artist's eye. Look at those expressive contours along the crown of the blue jay. So as we've already established, contour lines explore the outer edges of an object, of a shape, but they can also be used to explore inner forms. So in this case, the inner wrinkles and bumps and structural features of the hand are also explored with contour lines. Here's another example. So it's not just the outline. You could think of it as like outlining shadows and outlining bumps and outlining structural features. The arrow on the left is pointing to a dominant shadow on the reference photo, and then the arrow on the right is showing that that shadow was outlined with a contour line. If you look carefully at the fingers, you'll also see some shadows that were outlined with contour lines there. Here's an example where an artist has used contour lines to draw some portraits, but then also use contour lines to outline shadows and structural features like the rise of a cheekbone. Here's another example. Notice the arrows pointing out the shadows along the bridge of his nose, which were then outlined with contour lines in the contour line drawing. Changes in value in the hair and even wrinkles were also noted with contour lines. You'll often see contour drawings or contour lines represented with one continuous line, in which case the artist does not take the drawing tool off the paper. This is why contour drawings often have that spontaneous and gestural look to them. You can think of it like tracing the outer edge of an object, but also tracing the inner features as well, with one slow-moving continuous line. So how can we apply this concept of contour lines to our art in general? Well, as we've already noted with this painting, establishing the subject matter in the drawing form with expressive contours, and then maintaining those contours as the artwork proceeds through the painting stage, can enable an artist to capture a lot of expression and visual complexity in artwork. Notice the expressive contours or edges along the dog and the boy's clothing and even the clouds in this painting. They contrast the straight edges of the spears nicely. Sometimes an artist will actually leave contour lines visible as a design element. So here's an interesting couple of pieces of art in which we see a wide range of value being used, color and texture, but also contour lines, where the contour lines are actually allowed to stay visible and in fact emphasized as a design element. Here is a piece by the artist who drew those. So those are the artist's drawings, but then here's the completed painting in the same style. And what we see here is that the artist has painted in the shapes that she's established with the contour lines. And so those shapes act as shadows on the subject, enabling the artist to create form, but they also act as shapes within shapes to build visual complexity in the artwork. Now here's part 2 of that. So there's the reference photo on the left, there's the contour drawing on the right, and then here's the finished product where the artwork contains a wide range of value, a color scheme, even some collage to add complexity and texture, but then the contour drawing is actually superimposed on top of the painting and the collage. So in summary, first see expressive contours in your subject matter, and then emphasize and exaggerate them to add expression and visual complexity to your artwork.